Hang in there with us because we still got some stuff to do, and I always get excited when it's time to do the Diva Diaries. So my sister, what you got, man? What's up next?
What I had was a news commentary that I want Miss SY in on. So I'll just do this question from my blog book in the meantime.
Okay.
That I was going to discuss later.
Okay.
It is your past holding you back from exploring a future relationship, romantic relationship? If so, what can you do to move past it? So you being married, I don't know if you have a perspective on it, but
I can speak generally.
You can speak generally?
Yeah,
okay, so what do you think?
I mean, obviously, there are going to be situations where the past will hold you back. I can tell you, not firsthand, but from speaking with some of my brothers, they'll tell me, in the dating pool, they're dealing with a lot of sisters who's dealing with the baggage from the last dude. Mm-hmm. The last dude might have done whatever it was he did, and so they're always expecting all men to be the same. Right. That's just not fair. Are there certain qualities that are consistent? Probably. But, every single dude is not going to do the same negative things to you.
Right.
And they're not going to do the same positive things to you. So if you're going to engage in a relationship, you'd be wise to make sure that you've gotten through the stuff from the past so that you can move forward. Because if you can't move forward and you always bringing up stuff that ain't even got nothing to do with me or her, you know what I mean? Feeling the person in a relationship.
Right.
Then you already, that kind of goes back to when we were talking about being emotionally unavailable, because you're not. You're still dealing with the other person.
Right.
So.
And that's why I kind of connected that question, because they were a little bit related. What do you think, Miss Tony?
I would say absolutely, but I think that's a good thing, because I think too often people find themselves, and that's men and women, in the same relationship they've been in before, just with a different person, because they make those same maybe bad choices, or that person has the same characteristics that they don't want.
Right.
But for whatever reason, they keep ending up in that kind of relationship. And I guess for me, there's just, like, I know what I want. And, a lot of people will tell you, oh, well, you're too picky and this and that. I should be picky.
Right.
Like, I deserve to have what I want, which nobody's perfect. I'm totally aware of that, including myself. But I know what I want. I know what I need. And I should not have to deviate from that just for the sake of saying that I'm in a relationship.
Right.
So.
Right. Mr. Videographer, Stephen Sykes, LP, Mr. LP of In Live and Radio, would you like to get in on this? I know you have interesting perspectives on relationships. Is there something holding you back from exploring a future romantic relationship or a current one?
Well, one of the many mistakes that a lot of people do, and especially men, they may not see it, but they sometimes don't forgive themselves before they go into another relationship, whether they were abusive to that woman or what have you, and they find that they're having trouble finding peace because ultimately the woman that you're seeking wants to know what happened to your previous relationship. It's a fair question, but they're scared admitting that I did this, and now in the back of their mind, are they always going to hold that against you? So if you have an argument, is she going to think I'm going to hit her, or something like that? So a lot of times there's that issue and forgiveness. And to your point, Miss Tony, about being picky, you're right. You should be, because it's your heart, mind, body, soul, spirit that you're sharing. The only problem is that some women use the thing of being picky, I want what I want, as an excuse to have a list of demands and things that are not necessarily right, perfect, things like that. That's unattainable by any man, unless you can draw them and make them come to life. So that's what usually happens from time to time.
Well, I like your perspective, but you didn't really answer my question.
I'm sorry.
I said, is there something holding you back?
What held me back?
In a future or current relationship?
I would say in the past what held me back. Sometimes being a nice guy, people automatically assume that you're weak or you don't have confidence and things like that, and that gets on my nerves personally. But that was never an issue. I guess is just I can't really say that I could think of anything that holding me back in terms of just trying to give more people a chance. I would say if anything else, because I'm a little bit. I'm not a A-type personality. I'm a giving and willing to share, do a whole bunch of different things, but willing to give a chance because I'm coming. I know it may sound like a woman, but coming from a guy that's constantly being hit in the head, I've stopped a couple of years ago. I've stopped apologizing for being myself. I've stopped apologizing for being a gentleman. I stopped apologizing. I realize that sometimes some of the things I've done, people may not have understood why or where I'm coming from, because unfortunately women are conditioned for certain things because of what I won't even call men, I call them boys have done. And so now they're coming from a perspective of like, if you ask, like, I'm not trying to take you out, or I'm just trying to say hi, whatever. That's what happens usually there. So I've learned to ease up and just try to give everybody a chance.
Okay. And I would say that it takes a level of maturity to accept yourself, love yourself, and stop apologizing for being yourself. So that was a good point you made there. With me personally, trust has always been an issue. So I only open up with so much, for a person that I'm getting to know. And it takes a long time for that emotional intimacy thing to kick in for me, because I have to trust you that you have my interests best at heart as I have your interests best at heart. So I think that's probably one of the things that may be holding me back in my relationships. I'm not really sure, but I would say that's probably the one thing. You had something to add?
Yes, one of the things you mentioned earlier about emotional intimacy is that you can have a very strong level of emotional intimacy with your female friends and still keep it very platonic. I'm very close to a lot of female friends on a lot of different levels, and there's a level of emotional intimacy. I care, things like that, not just on a friendship level, but I really do care and love them, not as in a romantic way and things like that, but I still love and care. Even the couple of people that I did date in the past, I care about them because I want to make sure that they're safe doing certain things they went through. So there's a level of emotional intimacy that I try to have for others. And I want people to understand that it's okay to have that with other people. That builds you as a person, that builds you as a human being. I made a comment during the last one. I said, what are you willing to give up in order to gain what you need?
Ms. Tony has something else you want to add? Okay. All right. Well, I wanted Miss S.Y. to be in on the commentary, but I guess I can fill her in when she returns.
We'll bring her up to speed when she comes back.
Bring her up to speed. I know you guys are pretty much into the story of D. Wade and Gabrielle Union and what they've had going on, but I'll just go over a few pointers to remind you of what's going on with those guys. Gabrielle Union.
Here we go. Here we go.
She cheated with Wade while he was still married, according to my sources. Now, the sources could be incorrect. I viewed some videos from the wife, Slovan Wade, and of course she has her side of things, her perspective, and basically she was saying that he was cheating while they were still legally married. According to the ex, she said he basically left her homeless or almost homeless, where she didn't have anywhere to stay, no money, and he didn't take care of the kids. But then later on, custody was awarded to him because of some mix-up, some miscommunication with what time the child was supposed to be picked up or something. So that's that drama on that side of things. And then later on, while Gabrielle Union and Wade are together, he got another girl pregnant. It's not even allegedly, like, it's something that's really out there, that he got this other girl pregnant. So that's some of the background on what's going on. And I also reviewed some stuff online. I got this story from ABC.com, ABC News, and it talks about her appearance, Gabrielle Union, on the Arsenio Hall show. And it talks about how she wants a prenup for this marriage. And I'm just wondering, what that's all about. Of course, I have my own
we can definitely talk about that because I got feelings on that too.
And I also did some other research on TMZ, and it talks about how they can prove that he got Aja Matior, or however you say her name, pregnant during a time when they were together, because they were tweeting on Twitter saying all these loving things about the dog and, how they're happy together at the time when they traced back 9 months, from when she had the baby, and they were supposed to be on a break. So, saying all of that, what do you guys think, dear? What do you think about this whole saga? Who wants to jump in there?
I'll start it off. As far as the prenup, I mean, I was watching Arsenio that night, and so I was watching, and to get in context of what she was saying, she was basically saying, I got my own money. I don't need his money. I don't want his money. Mm-hmm. And I want a prenup to protect my stuff, just like he should want one to protect his stuff. And she basically said everything that I was thinking at that moment, I mean, we can sit here. I mean, we do these relationship segments and we do these group therapies and all this kind of stuff because relationships ain't always perfect. Right. And sometimes you break up. And, we plan for everything else. We get insurance. We get life insurance because eventually we're going to die. We get car insurance. We don't go out looking to have a car accident. Some people go their whole life never having a car accident, but they still got to have insurance. Right. And so I can't have insurance for my stuff in case this relationship don't work out. That's crazy to me. That's absolutely crazy to me that anybody that would be such a, and I'm about as hopeless romantic as it gets when it comes to that kind of stuff. I know there's some people that hear me say that, get the hell out of here, you ain't there. But seriously, I am. If you into somebody, I get the whole I want to be with them forever stuff. But in case you act a damn fool and get on my damn nerves and have to go, I want to have some in case of. Right. In case of you acting crazy, also known as a prenuptial agreement. So that's what I'll say about that. As far as the infidelity, I don't care about none of that because that's between them. That the prenup I can speak on because that's a general situation that, most people with wealth will at some point have to address, their wealth, whether they're in a relationship or not. You got to have, there's legal documents for rich people. It ain't got nothing to do with their spouse. Mm-hmm. You got to always find a way to protect your money. And so I'll speak on that. As far as the infidelity, I don't care enough to even have an opinion. I've been hearing this story for forever. And honestly, she ain't, she's not, she's got blood on her hands just like he does. Right. So for us to sit here and assign blame to him versus her and her versus him, I have my thoughts about it, but I just don't care enough really to be passionate enough. I'm more passionate about saying I don't want to talk about it than I am to actually say what I think.
Well, you were the first one to raise your hand.
Well, I raised my hand because I wanted to address the prenup thing.
Right. What do you think, Mr. LP?
I think the prenup is a bunch of BS, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay. As much as she was didn't care about sharing all this other stuff, these were not the words of her when they first were quote unquote being friends, and then before they admitted they were getting together and dating back then. I think it's all because of all what had happened is that now she's deciding to listen to some wise counsel from somebody, and she got her head awakened where she decided to say, okay, I need to get the prenup. That's one.
So are you saying that basically she wants that prenup because she may not be that confident in the relationship itself, the marriage?
Very much so.
Okay.
There's that. I care about the relationship because although I don't think anybody was perfect, at the time I felt that she was one of the women in Hollywood that kind of worked hard to keep herself in the model fame. Except for the last 7 to 8 years, she started being, in my opinion, ratchet. So that
harsh words.
Ratchet. Oh yeah, she was being very ratchet, rude, disingenuous, and everything else. And I would last say this is let this and all this other stuff be a caution to young women, or women period. old, and especially young girls, get your blank together. Do what you want. If you want a business, this, that, and that. I've seen too many times. I've been in the recent auditions and doing stuff. They say, "Oh, I have my kids. I have my husband. I helped him." It's like, now you're past a certain timeline before you can really do something, but you're still trying to regain your dream at 40, 50, 60 years old. BS. Get what you want. Get what you need first. Your education, whatever you got to do before you start A, having children, and B, even less, getting married and then having children. Because now you don't run into this whole drama of this woman basically was chasing somebody who, for a while, people forget she was walking 7 steps in front of him and back behind him and all that other BS. Just to prove so she could stay in a relationship. That man proved from the beginning he didn't care. And you stood in there. So now this is what you get.
All right. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, I just disagree with prenups because, to me, marriage is supposed to be forever. And yeah, sometimes things do go wrong, but I don't know. To me, that's kind of like a, get out of jail free card. And I don't know. I don't know if I would marry somebody who wanted me to sign a prenup because for me, it's till death, like till death. And I think a lot of people take divorce as the easy way out. We gonna do everything we got to do to make this work. So I'm against prenups. Maybe I would feel differently if I was wealthy, but I don't see that as being a genuine part of an eternal relationship. In response to what you said about women, get yourself together, get your stuff, get your education, get your career in order before you get married, have children. Life doesn't happen that way.
True.
So, we can do it all. And I don't believe in, saying, well, I got to do it because my life is nothing the way, it doesn't look anything like I wanted it to when I was like 12 years old, yes, or even when I was 18 years old.
I didn't mean to be offensive.
No, I'm not offended, but I'm just letting you know from a woman's standpoint. I've always been very independent, not because I wanted to be initially, but because I have to be. So, if love came along before the great career came along, I wasn't going to pass that up just so I can make that money, because there's more to life than that.
No, but don't lose yourself. When I say that comment, I think of you three. Honestly, we were on top of all of that, regardless of their situation. Because I'm saying of those women who put themselves aside, forget all who they are, just for the sake of getting a man and or children. Don't do that, because then you're not doing your marriage or your children any justice. I
understand that, but you have to look at the. Again, life happens. People. I have a son, mm-hmm, and I was not married when I got pregnant. But you
didn't give up yourself,
right? But the thing is, there are women who married this man and had children with them, and now they're also single parents. So you never know what's going to happen to you. Mm-hmm. Your spouse could be killed or die. You just never know what could happen. With regards to their relationship and, the things that he's done and stuff that she's done, like Marcus said, I really don't care about other people's relationships, unless it's somebody that's close to me that I love and care about and I'm concerned for, what happens to them. She's a grown woman. She's smart. But we're all a fool for somebody.
Amen to that.
At some point. So, whatever shall come to her is what is going to come to her. But I don't feel sorry for her or anybody else. Again, like I said, even my friends. I mean, I'm going to tell you as a friend, like, I think you're being stupid, but it's still on you. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be there for my friends. For her, who's going to be there for her?
The only people I care about in all this situation is the kids. That's all I care about.
True. But they're not your kids. Pray for them.
I pray for them, yeah.
Okay. Ms. S.Y., are you up to speed, or you need me to review some things for you with the story?
We're discussing a prenup that Gabrielle gave to Dwayne, mm-hmm, and whether or not this relationship affects me in any way.
Yeah.
Relationship does not affect me in any way. I could care less what these two adults
Right.
are doing. For whatever reason, she's having him sign a prenup. That's your business. If that relationship works for you, then that relationship works for you. She's never seen him balance a checkbook or whatever. Well, if he can't manage his money, that would not be the dude I'd want to marry in the first place.
Right.
If he can't manage his
right.
pennies. I
That's
mean,
the
really.
way. It's almost like she's planning for the relationship to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so she's like, okay, well, I know this is going to happen again, so let me make sure my stuff is secure. So you sign this and I'll say yes. I don't really give a rat's tail. I don't care.
What do you think about prenups in general? Do you think it's a good idea, or does it depend on the situation?
You know, I don't know that it would depend on the situation. If it's that serious, one, I'm probably not going to get myself involved in it because there's a level of mistrust.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, some people it may be necessary for, and if that's what you got to do to protect your belongings and your things and yourself, then be my guest. But there's always trust issues when you know somebody has a trust issue when it comes up.
Well, I would love to know his response to the whole prenup thing, if he was down for it or if he was looking like, okay, what's up with this?
Well, when you sign a prenup, if I signed a prenup, does that mean that I'm not only taking yours, you're not taking mine? Neither one of us, or is it you're just not taking
there's
mine?
different
You are
ways that a
protected.
prenup can be written, and I want to kind of throw a devil's
wrench in
advocate
here.
in there. Yeah, monkey wrench, whatever you want to call it. You know, because prenups, you know, from what I understand about them, you know, they are typically basically I'm leaving what I came here with, but I'm gonna make sure that you straight too. I mean, I'm not gonna leave you broke. I mean, you came in, you know, to the marriage in a 1986 Hyundai XL, and I got a Jag. I mean, I'll probably buy you like an Accord or something. I mean, you know, I'm clowning, but you're not leaving with the XL. You're gonna be all right, you know. And so for those of you who are not so much Steve and more so ladies, I'll just ask you, if you're Oprah and you know you fall in love with Marcus J, you're not gonna get a prenup? I mean, seriously?
But here's the thing, okay? And I'm gonna be honest with
Please
this.
be. Yeah, keep it real. That's what we do here.
I have nowhere near Oprah's money. But if I could tell you, we've been friends for a long time.
Very long time.
You know how
yes.
many broke dudes I done been with? A lot of them.
So she was rich.
Too many of them. and I'm not rich. But I'm saying, like, you don't have to be rich. But when you love somebody, like, you know, you try to help them. And I know that as women, especially, we see the potential in somebody and we try to help them to get there.
But I'm going to say this,
really
though.
fast.
I mean, respectfully, there's a big difference between the way I set it up and the way you set it up.
I understand.
We talking
I
about-
understand. But
yeah.
again, if I'm with you and we're getting married, it's forever. So I'm not thinking that, well, this dude going to leave me. Because honestly,
Right, just in case.
most prenups have some sort of stipulation about unfaithfulness.
Yes, they do. But see, here's the other thing. You know, we can come into this with this lofty plan to stay married forever, but we also know the reality is the divorce rate is 50%. It's over 50%.
But it's lower for older people. So I'm feeling really good about
Okay.
that.
Oh, I'm feeling real good now.
All right. Well, I mean, fair enough. But I mean, the reality is, like I set it up earlier, insurance. That's what it is. And, you know, I mean, we're not going to agree, and that's cool. I mean, I'm not trying to change your mind. But what I am trying to do is look at it from a different perspective, because I think it's very interesting that the Diva brought this up, because it's very rare that a woman is the one that's proposing a prenup. And I got into this with Big Rude recently because we had a similar discussion. He's on record as saying that no matter who he marries, no matter how much money he has or they have, he wants a prenup, because even if he start acting crazy, he want to make sure that, you know, his crazy don't affect her money. I understand that thought process.
But can't you guys have that discussion, you know, during the divorce proceedings
No,
or whatever?
no,
I mean, does that have to be a prenup?
No, yes. Because we know that people don't play fair when they mad. Like, I can't believe you even said that. Think about that. Think about what you suggested.
Yeah, you're about to lose it all now.
Yeah, I mean, nobody plays fair when they mad. I saw Nene Leakes on TV, and I wanted to rip my own eyeballs out because I actually sat and watched her for more than 5 minutes, and she was talking about the guy that she was with, and they was together when they was both broke, and then she got divorced and became Nene Leakes, and now she got loot, and now she wants a prenup, which he was hesitant on whether he was going to sign it, and she was like, well, it's a deal breaker. If you don't sign it, then we ain't getting married. And I ain't mad at her.
But she was broke when he had money. So what does she talk? See, okay, well, you compare it to insurance. Insurance is transfer of risk. To me, you are basically putting the foundation, the premise of your marriage into a legal document, and that's not what marriage is supposed to be about.
I hear you.
I agree.
I hear you. I just disagree.
It's supposed to be about love. And forever.
You know what?
It is supposed to be about
And you know
love.
what? All right, here's the deal. It's supposed to be about love, right? But it's also a contract that you sign. I know because I had to sign one.
True.
And so, if you enter into any kind of contract with your business partner, they make you sign a contract, right? Now,
True.
it doesn't sound great when you talk about love. It sounds crass when I put it that way. But the reality is, in every single state in this country, you got to sign a wedding license. It's a contract. So if we can understand that, what you going to do? You're going to say, you know what? We'll just not sign that contract, and we'll be married under the God's umbrella, under the law. And if you're going to do that, then cool. I'll roll with you. I'll roll with you on that. But you know what? That same preacher who's telling you that you got to stay married, until death do you part, gonna sign that same contract that you signed.
But the thing is that love is not. I'm not saying that all you need is love and your marriage is going to be wonderful, because we all know that that's not true.
Lord knows that ain't true.
Right. There's so much more that goes into having a good, successful, happy marriage, not based on these, financial premises or these, what ifs. Marriage is based on how we relate to one another. Are we compatible? I respect you. You respect me. We like doing this. We like doing that. Maybe you're great at cleaning the house, and maybe I'm great at balancing the checkbook, and we love each other, and we're friends, and we want to have children. We have the same goals. It's not about, I got X dollars, you got Y dollars. I want to keep my X dollars and leave you with your Y dollars at the end of the day. But I do love you. I do love you.
Again, we're misunderstanding what the whole point of a prenup is. You know what I mean? Because I've never in my life seen or heard of a prenup that leaves the person with less money broke and destitute. And I also want to know, if we're so against prenups, then why ain't we against alimony? Because if
I'm absolutely depends.
Why does it depend?
It depends, because if I take Michael Jordan for example,
I know where you're going, and that in that situation there wouldn't be a prenup. There wouldn't be a prenup.
But I'm talking about alimony.
I understand. I understand, but I'm just saying to speak to where, and correct me if I'm wrong, but where I think you were going is she was holding him down from jump.
Absolutely.
Right. There wouldn't have been no prenup because there wouldn't have been, any money in the beginning. Right? You follow me so far?
Yes.
So alimony, why I got to pay you?
Because I basically was taking care of you all these years. Now, I don't think the alimony should be like forever until you get married. I think that it should be like an amount, a lump sum. That's what you get. Thank you. You raised our kids for 18 years, all 5 of them. And, I'm okay with that.
But every single state, but most states would say, if there's no prenuptial and the money that came into the marriage during the marriage is fair game for everybody. And so that is the reason why I have issues with alimony. Because if you're already getting half, a state like California, which I do know a little bit about, a state like California, you could take half my money and I still got to pay you alimony.
But look how much money is in California.
I don't care about that. That's not fair. It's not fair. Just because I live in a state where there's a lot of rich people, does that mean that I got to spend more money
Maybe
to
I'm still taking care of your kids, and I have a lifestyle that I.
But that's what child support is for.
No. That's just to take care of the kids' school.
Yeah, you still
Yeah,
got
especially if
That's
she's
what
like a
y'all-
homemaker.
That's it.
She may need some
Exactly.
That's not-
alimony.
Nah.
Yeah,
Because
I
the
gotta
child's
go
not
to
gonna
training.
survive.
Nah.
I haven't worked in 25 years.
That's right.
So I got to go to school and learn how to do something to be a productive member of society. Absolutely, that's worth
I got a
money.
whole lot of things I need to do that you need to pay for.
I need a jump start kit.
Okay, so not just you. What about if the roles were reversed? You okay with paying the male alimony?
Absolutely.
It's the same thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, at least we consistent. I still disagree, but at least we consistent. Because my thought on that is, if we've been together and I acquired a massive wealth, in our relationship, a massive wealth of which, yeah, you are at home supporting, but the reality is I never seen Vanessa Bryant shoot a 3-pointer or dunk a basketball. And so while she deserves to live comfortably for the rest of her life because she produced children and she was married to Kobe and all of this kind of stuff, yeah, no, I don't think that I need to be paying her a stipend for some amount of money.
No, I disagree.
And that to me is just crazy. And I know that's not the subject that we were on, but to speak to the prenup, alimony to me is like a postnup. That's kind of what it is. And I've always been against that because I feel like, if you're going to split the money, then split the money. Get your money during the divorce proceeding. But when we divorced, I don't want to deal with you no more unless we got kids. If we got kids, then we do the child support for as long as the youngest child, is a minor in college and all that kind of stuff. But if I wanted to be taking care of you, I would have stayed with you.
I just think discussion of any of that before the marriage is just so shallow for the relationship, and it just makes it seem like I'm preparing for the worst. I'm preparing for us to divorce. So let's talk prenup and alimony and all that kind of stuff. Why get married in the first place if you already think you're going to get
But
a
see,
divorce?
where I disagree with that is I just think that we're speaking in a, it's almost like we're forgetting that we've made evolution in our lives. You know what I mean? Like, no one is going to come to the crib and want to listen to your old ass 8-track when they know that you got a CD player or an MP3 player. You know what I mean? When you have more money and more technology and more access to protect yourself, then why wouldn't you use it? I mean, to say that we're in such this great love affair and for, I know you're a billionaire and I'm a thousandaire, and for me to not want to protect myself or you to protect yourself if you're the millionaire, that's just crazy to me when the assumption is, but we're supposed to stay together forever. When we have information that tells us that some people ain't right and some people really is out for your money. That's one thing. True. And we also know that there's a 50%, divorce rate. And so these things we know. We're not guessing this. We know this. And so when we have that now, if he chooses not to ask or she chooses, the one with the wealth chooses not to put it on the table, then great, fine. I hope they live forever. But I'm gonna tell you, if it was Marcus J, or if it was somebody that Marcus J was gonna enter into a marriage with, and there was a lot of wealth, absolutely, I would sign one in a heartbeat. And that's me, the thousandaire. Mm-hmm. I would sign one in a heartbeat. Yeah, cool. You want it? Cool. Here's your prenup.
I understand your perspective.
Yeah, well, obviously, I mean,
and I may feel
we can agree to
differently
disagree.
if I was rich,
I'm pretty sure you would, but this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier when I was, having the discussion in social media with my white brother earlier. Your perspective will absolutely influence how you feel about stuff. It is what it is. And I have Steppin with Marcus J. All right, we're going to take our final break of the night. And it's very brief. And when we come back, we're going to have our rants and we're going to have our closings. We appreciate everybody that's listening. We're going to have a word from every single person in the room to wrap up the show tonight. Marcus J, Steven Sykes, Mr. LP, SY, Dating Pool Diva, and Miss Tony, and you in social media. Be back in a few minutes.